Thank you. Thank you very much. Can we get seated, please? Please, can we sit down so that we'll be very fast and brief. My dear fellow Nigerians, my dear brothers and sisters, they said he who pays the piper, he pays the toll. I want to recognize the presence of the President of the Nigerian community here. All of you, most of you know him very well, and he has, in no little way, contributed and facilitated the coming this, our future, in anticipation, as per se. Let me invite the President of the Nigerian community, Mr. Man. Is he here? Mr. President, please. Take it back! As a gentleman, Mr. Man. To tell you that what we have come to do today is not a small thing, but of a very great significance. All of you understand the time it is now. It's a business hour. But because some people still believe in certain things and they are ready to make that sacrifice, nothing good to say comes very easy. Please join me in welcoming the Chief Operating Officer, the Chief Executive of one of the moving expedition companies here, Light Logistics, Mr. Emeka. Okay. You see, the most popular thing in the world is God. After God, we have Coca-Cola. Yes, because there's no part of the world we will never see Coca-Cola. There's a gentleman here, Reverend Father, if he's around. Reverend Father Cornelius, is he here? Reverend Father Cornelius, please. He's a priest of the Catholic order, a holy man, just like myself, the cardinal. Please put your hands together for us. You see, I don't know, it's because I'm wearing white today. You know that the cardinal is wearing white and we are wearing white. Let us start by committing what we have gathered here to do today in the hand of the Almighty God. And the Father will conduct the prayer. Shall we rise for prayers? I believe we are all Christians. So we invoke God and His blessings and assistance of this very gathering to be with us. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Lord, we bless your name today. We give you thanks for this life, for your guidance, and for your Son you have given safe trip to visit the city of Napoli today. And for his particular intention, we pray, O Lord, that it shall be fruitful. And for us who have gathered here to listen to him, what he has for us, bless us too, and bless whatever contributions and sharings we are going to make here. May it all go down to better our country, Nigeria, to the glory of your name, and for the good of all the citizens, both at home and in diaspora. And this is our prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. If you are a Christian, a Muslim, if you don't even believe in anything, you understand that we walk one with only one language until the children of God wanted to go and see God. He used the language to disorganize them. So I wouldn't want to, not to say it, but I will say it. If we have an imam, but if it is not necessary, if nobody pick offense, then we can do with the prayer. We have an imam here who will represent the interests of my Muslim brothers. In absence of that, in the presence of the President of the Nigerian community, and the aspirant to the Asu House, not wrong, our president will not live in Aso Rock. He will live in Aso House. Therefore, as Nigerians in Napoli and with our president here and an aspiring one in Aso House, can we stand to sing the national anthem of our great country?
Praise the Lord. Great Nigeria people. Great Nigeria people. Let's sing their national anthem.
My dear brothers and sisters, fellow Nigerians, at a very short notice, I was asked to come today to moderate an occasion of our meeting in view of the poster behind it. People like us agreed to come because of what we believe in. And I'm sure that most of us who are here still believe in the same thing I believe. There's a Igbo program that says if you are holding a child's toy, and because it's too small to grab it, you raise your hand up. Definitely, your hand will be paining you. You will bring it down and they will collect it. Is that not true? For the past years, we've been, not that we are ignorant, but we have felt that we cannot do anything about it. That the leadership of Nigeria as a nation has been in the hands of people who, by act of muzzling, bullying, grabbed it from us. We kept quiet. We didn't complain. Not until somebody was advised to step down for the younger youth. And somebody said that they are lazy. Are Nigerian youth lazy?
No!
That was what we have come to prove today.
Lazy. Fucking lazy.
We have come today to prove that the Nigerian youth are not lazy. And because people like us believe that there will be no more money bags in the Nigerian politics, we want to eradicate the godfatherism. We want to eradicate the politics of tribal sentiments, which in no way is paying Nigeria. Abiola of the blessed memory said, there's no way you can represent a country of 19 states in a field of play where you need 11 players. Nigeria lost their glory in football when quota system was brought into Nigerian football. When we were small, we aspired to go to university. If you want to go to the university, you go to Nsukka, take their form. But with the introduction and advent of JAM, the educational system collapsed. If I need 5 credits to go to Nsukka to study pharmacy, I need 3 credits to go to the University of Maiduguri to study pharmacy. It is not the best. And that was why we were not surprised when I was transmitting, and I was transmitting, and I was transmitting.
Take it back! Take it back!
You see? So today, you have come for a purpose. If you want to take it back, you can take it. The choice is yours. The choice Moses gave to the children of Israel, the choice of life and death. Choose the one you like. And a journey of 10 miles starts with one step. And we have taken the initiative today. When Obama came out in America, he saw the Republicans. There were so many money bags. He decided to say, yes, we can. Can't we? Yes, we can. You see, our brother has come to speak to us. I'm trying to prepare your minds on the questions that you may ask. But I must point one thing that is important. If he has to go further than he's going and to make it, the support of each and every one of us must be needed. That's number 10. Politics is not a children's play. It is a game of what? Money. Only to print the posters, run your campaign advert, hire helicopters and put your campaign team together. It's very expensive. Therefore, before I will ask him to address us, let me prepare your mind. I will ask you for your little contributions towards his campaign aspiration. But briefly, let the president of the Nigerian community say a few things then before we proceed.
Take it back! Take it back! Take it back!
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Mr. Sowore, I'll keep pronouncing your name Sowore, 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 until you are there. And the name is so simple, short, that can resonate in our ears often. And that is what we need. A name that will resonate until we take it back. And today we are here to take it back. Before we continue, I would like to apologize on his behalf for his late coming. Not his fault. In fact, he was pushing me, let's go, let's go, let's go, because he hates coming late. But hey, I'm in Nigeria. He has come to address that today. And why we came late is because we went round to see some synagogues. The synagogue of Napoli, unfortunately, he is out of office. We then went to the synagogue of Achera. He met with synagogue of Achera and some of the grievances, corruption in the first place, trafficking in the second place, collaboration in the third place. We discussed all these with the synagogue of Achera, who promised to make it even to stand even higher until it gets to the EU. Now, today we have Sowore in our midst, and Mr. Sowore, I will please ask of you to exercise patience with us to bear this heat, because if you can see the environment, it is almost abandoned. This is because the office we are using today, they have shifted base to a new site, and they are now just at the last moment of dismantling everything. Maybe the next time we shall handle everything in the new office. Mr. Sowore, I wouldn't like to take too much of your time because I know you have a lot of trip ahead of you, and I am very happy today that you, before you go you ascend the throne, God willing, you've come to touch the problems yourself in the first place. Though in your media house, SAHARA reporter, we've come across a series of reports you've been making about the crime, bribery, and corruption in the country, and I'm very happy today you even discussed this with some of the functionaries here. Not to burden everybody, because I know this will not be the first and this will not be the last. So I will quickly hand over the microphone to Mr. President Sowore.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
And thank you for taking our time to be with us today, despite your very heavy schedule in the city of Napoli. We are happy to see you, and we bring greetings from our brothers and sisters, our mothers and fathers all over Nigeria and beyond. Before we came here, we were in Treviso yesterday, where we had a fantastic town hall meeting. Before we came to Treviso, we were in Aba, we were in Umuahia, and in Umuahia, we went to see the War Museum so that we can appraise ourselves with some of the injustices that happened in the past in our country. Also in Umuahia, we went to see Adama Michael Opara, that's the wife of the first premier of the eastern region of Nigeria. Before that, we went to Port Harcourt, we went to Calabar. I'm saying all this is so as to tell you that there is a unanimous agreement between all Nigerians that we must take our country back, both at home and abroad. Thank you very much. And this unanimity, for the first time in a long time, has crossed ethnic, religious barriers. It's no longer about which language you speak or what's your mother tongue. It's not about which God you worship. As a matter of fact, like a friend of ours said, now it is time to start worshiping the pen in Nigeria, Biro as we call it, because we seriously need education. We have enough churches already. That's what he said. I'm not condemning churches or mosques, but it's just to say that it's very important. When I was returning from the US back to Nigeria, my second trip to start the campaign that we started about 3 months ago, we were passing through a place called Oshodi. Every one of you who is here must have heard about Oshodi in Lagos. I didn't know that if you pass through Oshodi in Nigeria, there will be an Oshodi in Italy. And I think Napoli reminds me of Oshodi. So this is, I'm sure a lot of you will be feeling at home. But that's on a lighter note. But another thing that happened in Oshodi that is very instructive was that when we were passing through the place was because of traffic. We were trying to avoid traffic. The main roads were all blocked, as you know. And we didn't know that women that were selling in Oshodi knew about our candidacy, because they keep saying that it's only the big politicians that are popular, until when we passed through the place and all these old women started shouting, no more to say Baba, it is time for say Bobo. It's time for say Baba, it is time for say Bobo. I was really surprised. But this is just to tell you that, contrary to what you hear, that this is all on the internet, it has percolated to the grassroots. Everybody is horrendously tired and saying enough is enough in Nigeria. Today, what is trending in Nigeria is a decision made by President Buhari yesterday while we were in Treviso. I got that press release to do something that we ourselves have been asking should be done for a long time. He made June 12th the new democracy day in Nigeria. It was our idea. It wasn't just our idea recently, it was our idea from our university days in the 1990s. You've seen a video floating around. I was standing behind Abiola in 1993. I was 21 years old. When all the big politicians had run away and betrayed Abiola. So on Saturday we were in Abeokuta, and I made a speech there that instead of their May 29 Democracy Day, June 12th shall henceforth become our Democracy Day. And lo and behold, they were listening to us. They have now made June 12th our Democracy Day. But that's not the most important thing about it. So I and our team decided this morning to up the ante. And we said, it is not just to declare June 12th Democracy Day. Abiola won the election. And the next man at that time, Professor Humphrey Omoyele, actually declared the results. So we should symbolically pronounce Abiola the president of Nigeria first, so as to right that wrong and injustice. Pay him his allowances and entitlements for the period of time that he ought to have been president. We'll determine that later. And of course, some people who didn't know what it means to right injustices were complaining that why would you say you want to pay Abiola his allowances? It's not as if Abiola needs it. It's a symbolic payment. I think the president of Nigeria during Abiola's time will probably be earning 300,000 naira per month. So even if we pay him for 10 years, it's nothing. But again, I can guarantee you that before the end of next week, on June 12th, they will start paying him the salary of president of today.
Take it!
So another thing happened also, and I'm just engaging on this level. I was also invited to a church program in Abuja before I came. And who did I meet? Donald Duke at the event. Donald Duke was the former governor of Cross River. And as he was walking to the podium, he was just like struggling. I used to know him as a very vivacious, bubbling, young-looking person. And I looked at him and I said, you know, these people, whenever there's money to steal, they look good. The moment there's not money anymore, they start looking haggard. Because their life, their existence, and their health depends on how much they can steal. I had an encounter with him. He said, no, that he was governor 35, at 35, I don't have experience. I didn't get the chance because the organizers were begging me that we don't do the tango. Hopefully I'll meet him, but I wanted to tell him that when people like you were hiding under your bed, we fought for the democracy that made you governor.
That's right.
That's the truth.
That's right.
Nigeria. And I say these things so that no one of you here is in doubt that you are competent and you are capable of being president of Nigeria anytime you choose to be, because it is your right to be the president of Nigeria, whether you are male or female. You don't have to be a former governor, you don't have to be a former councillor, you don't have to be a former commissioner, you just have to have your head correct.
Good talk.
That's the only condition you need. As a matter of fact, so that nobody appropriates the presidency of Nigeria to himself, you only have to have a secondary school leaving certificate, otherwise known as NEPA bill, for you to become the president of Nigeria. If you can't find your secondary school leaving certificate, you can show your NEPA bill, you are fine. That's what our current president has, because nobody has been able to locate his WAEC certificate. It's still right there in the air. So, but having said all that, I also want to let you know that I'm one of you. I've lived in the US for 19 years before I returned to Nigeria this year. But within those 19 years, not many of you could see me as someone living abroad, because I have constantly engage the power system in the country, fighting very hard to put their feet to fire. In some cases, fighting really hard to tip the system in favor of the Nigerian people. And what most people know about us here is the SAHARA Reporters, which is that news organization that has done some very interesting reporting on Nigeria's political elites and their thieving ways. And when I came yesterday to Treviso, one of the two people that spoke were Italians, and they kept saying that they want to help Nigeria, which I find very interesting, considering that right now Nigeria is the one helping the European economies through oil exports that they are getting. But nobody talks about oil. They talk about the diplomatic giveaways or tokens that they give us in the name of aid. But when you look at the arithmetic of aid, if you look at what ANI or NI is bringing into Italy alone, if you subtract it from what we get from Italy, it is small. It's like very infinitesimal. But nobody wants to talk about it. And I found them actually very defensive. The moment you start talking about their companies, they step away from it. Because for them, the most sexy conversation we can have is the fact that your brothers and sisters are prostitutes on our streets. So what are you going to do to take them out of the place? And I said to them, if you don't want prostitutes on the street of Italy, you fucking need to tell your people to stop sleeping with little girls. This is a demand and supply issue. The moment you shut down the demand, the supply will stop. But that is not to say that we should not do something to save those young girls who are coming over here. They need help. But I also think that, as our Christian brothers and sisters will say, Italian men need deliverance as well. Yes, they do. And because I cannot imagine that a country as sophisticated as this will have their old men, some of them very sophisticated people, sleeping with people who are under the age of 14 and 13. It is criminal to be doing that. So I just want to address those of them that might be hearing us, that yes, so we close our borders, we close the road, we deal with our security agencies who are assisting in human trafficking, but also they need to also deal with their own excesses and shenanigans on this side of the world. And the other part is to look at how we can fix our own country. As much as we might like to abuse them, the West, we also cannot continue to have the colonial excuse that we had over the years, where we say, oh, because we had colonial issues, we can't, that's why Nigeria has not grown. So many excuses. Some have said that, you know, Nigeria has expired in as of 2014, because it was set up in 1914 by the British colonialists. But the question we should ask ourselves, India was also colonized. If India is doing well, Nigeria can as well also do well. And if Nigeria has expired in 2014, we can as well renew our existence by doing what is right by ourselves. Even the USA that we all hear about today was the colony of the British. But you know, they went away from the British, they got their acts together, and now they have a different country. So what do I propose? I think 2019 could be a very important year for us to deliberate democratically and obtain for ourselves independence from our local colonial leaders. This time around, this independence will have to be from our own brothers who have colonized the Nigerian political space, who have colonized our economic space, who have colonized our social space or social spaces to the extent that we cannot breathe in our own country. You can't believe it that some of the young people that were rescued from Libya have returned back to Libya because they prefer to live and die in Libya than to be slaves in their own country. Nigeria is not working for anybody but perhaps a few people. Maybe it works for about 1% of the population of 198 million is what they put it as of 2 weeks ago. A lot of them are living under the radar. People are not, you can't say that Nigerians are surviving. It will be an insult to the definition of survivor, because a lot of people in Nigeria can't even feed. As a pastor friend of ours said yesterday, said if you compare the condition of Nigerians with that of the Israelites when they were about to leave Egypt, the Israelites were doing better because at least they had food. That they plenty of food in Egypt, to the extent that they were challenging Moses after they left Egypt, that at least we have food in Egypt, let's go back there and be enjoying ourselves instead of this journey that's taking forever. The same thing cannot be said of Nigeria. People have no food, they have no hospitals to go to, they have no schools to send their children to. The people who have graduated from universities have not had jobs. Some of them, since I left Nigeria 19 years ago, I know at least of 5 of my friends who have never worked before, never found a job. I didn't find a job in Nigeria before I left. And when I left Nigeria, I find out that even in other people's countries, Nigerians can flourish, but they can't flourish in their own country. You probably have even heard that when Nigerian policemen, as bad as they are, when they go to other countries to do UN duties, they suddenly start to behave very well. They don't collect bribe anymore and they get certificates. But in Nigeria, the Nigeria police is a very, very interesting agency of government. We're coming from Warri to Port Harcourt, the other day on the East-West Highway, which is in bad shape, and everywhere you see a crater on the road, you see a police checkpoint. And we were wondering in the car, is it the police that is digging the road so that you create a checkpoint next to it? And you can't rule out anything in Nigeria. This country is in a big mess. But if you are complaining about police corruption, you are missing the point. Police corruption is pretty much like existential corruption. They do it so that they can exist. The real corruption is with the guys at the top, the political people. You know, the presidency to the councillor of local government. We went today with the president here to see the mayor? Yes. And I was surprised to see how easy it was to enter the office of the mayor of a city that's as big as this. In Nigeria, to see a local government councillor, yes, you can't just walk into, somebody would have beaten you up like crazy. Are you crazy? When the mayor couldn't meet us, he sent representative. The representative was able to call the mayor on the phone and put him on FaceTime with us. He was apologizing profusely. I couldn't say to them because I was like, how is it so easy? But that is how government or governance should be. Yes. The people who are in government are supposed to be, they're supposed to be the servants of the populace. That's why they are called civil servants when they are employed and public servants if you are elected. But the Nigerian officials are not civil, and they are definitely not your servants. They group no nonsense, they don't have time for you. They are very, very aggressive, mostly rude and uncouth. The police is the worst. At the slightest provocation, they use force to resolve something that could have just been said, oh, I'm sorry, or come this way. So I could tell you the story from here till the end of the world. It's known to you. It's what brought you here. It's probably what you are running away from. But I keep telling myself, having been in America for 19 years, I can tell you that if Nigeria can get it a little bit right, a lot of us will go back home. Yes. And it's what I told the Italians yesterday, that don't worry, when we get it right, we will go back home. The only time you hear from us is if we come here for vacation. To come and spend our money. And that's how Nigeria used to be. The Naira used to worth more than the dollar. The Naira used to worth more than the pounds. So, if our country is doing well, how is it that you allow somebody to come and insult you? Simply because you came to stay in their own country in search of survival. In 1983, Ghanaians came to Nigeria to do shoe shining. They used to sell what they call puff in Nigeria with their jerry cords. You know, and then the ones among them who knew how, who were educated were teachers in our secondary schools and maybe a few in the universities. Now, Nigerians are going to Ghana to become Megads to Ghanaians. How many years later? The reason is simple. Nobody needs to tell you that this is rocket science. Leadership is the problem. Nigeria has been voting for the same characters that brought Nigeria to its knees. And sometimes it is done deliberately by our compatriots, by arguing between themselves who is better, between a thief, what Hausa people call Barao, and a deceiver, what Hausa people call Munafiki. And before you know it, we end up behind one of them. In fact, some people would argue that the old people have experience now. Where do the young ones, where are they going to get experience from? And I ask them, what is the experience they have? The experience is stealing? Is that the experience you are talking about? Tell me which Nigerian leader has experience that you have seen in your lifetime. Nobody can tell you. There was a time that Obasanjo was running for third time. I even had friends who I respected who said, oh, without Obasanjo, Nigeria will fall apart. Let him do his third term. He's the only person who can do it. He's the father of modern Nigeria. I say Obasanjo, father of modern Nigeria. How can somebody who is crude be the father of the modern nation? And that is the country that we are in. You need to go to Facebook now and see how young people like you and I are still arguing on how to sustain the chains in their hands and sustain the shackles in their legs by supporting Buhari. On Twitter, they claim that Buhari won a poll between himself and Atiku. And I said, who are the people voting in these polls? We know that they pay for those polls, but at times when they pay for you to do some stupid, nonsensical things, you should just withdraw from it. So, this brings me back to Mr. Donald Duke, who I met a few days ago. And they were saying, oh, you know, I have been governor, commissioner. And I asked him, Mr. Duke, I said it in my speech, I went to your state, Alamba. The only thing that is left there are refugees from Bakassi. Yes, you created a Tinapa that doesn't have a single person that is selling there. And if you are so experienced and you can see into it, you would have known that Tinapa cannot succeed. Because you cannot have an international business center in Calabar when Nigeria cannot maintain 4 toilets at the international airport in Lagos. So it's coming there to buy something. Right? So that the things that will attract somebody to come and buy something in Calabar, it's not attracting people to even travel to Lagos. We came through Turkey yesterday. Istanbul here. Come and see Turkish Airways, you know, see the airport that things are happening. And I'm asking, why can't Nigeria be the hub for Africa? Anybody who's going to Africa passes through Nigeria. Everybody who's going to Africa drops in Nigeria first. That way, all the dollars that we need for foreign investment will be coming in there. It will provide jobs and employment for our people. Our country will just be one of the nicest places to go in the world. Yes. Nobody is thinking about that because we don't have leaders. The leaders we have are a bunch of rogues. It is their money, Nigeria's money, that is used to build places like Dubai. Yes. Because they are all competing amongst themselves to have a house in Dubai. Houses that they cannot even stay in more than 6 times a year. With all the houses they bought in Dubai, they still don't live in the houses. They have to stay in the hotels. These very wicked individuals are the people running Nigeria. I said, if I was Mr. Donald Duke, I wouldn't have built Tinapa. I would have built an international university in Calabar that everybody will come and attend, to come and learn what they can't find anywhere else. And then everybody will be sending their children to that school. Or an international hospital that we have never heard about before. That everybody in Nigeria can come and be getting health care there. Not an international business center that in a country that has no electricity. Where are you going to get the electricity to power Tinapa? No. And Tinapa today is a shadow of itself. But Mr. Donald Duke did well for himself. For those of you who don't know, he bought the house of the former federal high court judge in Lagos, a bunch of properties in Lagos, and he's doing well for himself, but that money is also gone. Because one of the interesting things about these thieves is that they can never steal enough to last them forever. So before you know it, they are like fish out of water. They are battling to stay alive. I met one of them one day. He was begging the MC at a party, please announce me now. I'm used to the former commissioner. The guy said, no, we are dealing with the new commissioner now. Do you have money? Now, you know Nigerians, they don't waste time. It's eye service. If you are not there, you are not there. Anyways, but for us who are young and who are idealistic and who have promised to change our country, what do we have for the country? Because we must engage on the basis of ideas. We must engage on the basis of exposure, education, stamina, and capacity. And that is why I come in front of you to say, whatever I say here today, please feel free to interrogate it. Ask questions as deeply as you can. We've done almost 40, maybe this will be our 42nd town hall meeting. In Nigeria's history, no presidential candidate does town hall meetings. They don't want to have anything to do with you. No. Because they don't like, they don't like to get too close to you. You know, they have all these esoteric, convictions that they are special people, they can only interact with a few people. And because they really don't mean to do anything anyway, they feel like if they meet you, too much exposure will expose their weaknesses. A lot of them are also not very articulate. I'm not saying I'm the most articulate person in the world, but you can barely find a Nigerian president that can sustain an argument for a long time. The one that is there now, if he's speaking, he needs an interpreter, even if he's speaking English to us. So that's how bad things are in our country. But what are the things we would like to do? And when I say would like, is that the things we want to do are things that are dynamic. Things, the world is changing every day. And I say that to people sometimes. They say, oh, you know, there used to be a cell phone. Let's just use that, electronics. That's a common thing with us, that I know. You look at it in 6 months, another one has come, you know. Since I started using iPhone, I started, I think, around iPhone 5. We are now at 10, you know. But sadly, Nigeria is still being led by a man who has a Nokia 3300 mentality and memory space. So we must develop Nigeria. We must grow Nigeria. We must bring Nigeria on par with other nations. We must have an economic program for Nigeria that makes Nigeria productive, that makes Nigeria to be livable, to make Nigeria to be respected among nations, that make Nigeria to become the pride of Africa and the black race. And it is the same thing I told the Italians yesterday who were shouting, what can we do for you? I said, no, you can't do nothing for us. And I'm serious, I'm not being arrogant in saying that. Just let us be, let us govern ourselves the way we are. The money that you encourage our thieves to be stealing, stop encouraging them to steal it. Stop allowing your companies to bribe our officials. Return every loot that is in your international vaults to us. You will be surprised that we will be selling electricity to you very soon. Yes. And I'm not making this up because countries like Morocco is already selling, will be selling solar electricity to Malta and France, I think in about a year or two, because we are growing electricity through solar power or solar energy projects. 4,500 megawatts or so is what is going to come out of between Tunisia and Morocco. This year, Morocco has just reported its fastest train within the country. So what used to be 5 to 6 hours of travel is now brought under 1 hour. So what I'm telling you is that if you are living in Enugu or you're living in Onitsha or Aba, where they make the nicest shoes, by the way, in Aba, better shoes now you can get in Italy. It's now in Aba. You know, But think of it, if we can get those shoes to get to Lagos in 3 hours, and from Lagos to Italy will become not a problem. Or we can ship them through several ports. We only have a port that's really functioning, 2 of it, Port Harcourt and Lagos. But there are 4 other ports that could be developed immediately. But because our leaders are not interested in development, they are interested in importing things that can be imported directly with air cargo for immediate consumption and for their own comfort, than making it available for the public. So that we don't have a productive economy, right? So our first priority is to secure the country. And when you talk about security, you've heard about Boko Haram, you heard about herdsmen, general crime in the country. But our security is also about national security. How do we secure our resources? You know, we have oil, no doubt, but people are stealing it because our naval officers, Air Force are not securing our international borders. How do we secure our country in such a way that our kids are not kidnapped to become trafficked persons on the streets of Italy? How do we secure our border that even our younger kids, the one that you've never heard about, is organ trafficking? They take young kids out of Nigeria to go and harvest their kidneys and their livers, and then they bring them back. After a while, they die. That is happening now in Nigeria. Nobody's talking about it. Another part of security is cyber security. Nobody's even thinking about that in Nigeria yet. That the worst form of insecurity to the globe in the next 10 years will no longer be this physical combat they have, but through the cyberspace. Nobody's thinking about that. And we want to bring in our knowledge of how the world works, our exposure, to overhaul the system, you know. That's our brother there calling somewhere to get PVC. That's good. You are asking someone to get PVC at home, right? Yes. Anyways, so we need to overhaul our security system such that it becomes a modern security system that can combat all kinds of crimes. When you hear that herdsmen are killing peasants in Nigeria, it is not because the herdsmen are substituted. It's because the herdsmen have people within our security agencies who are aiding and abetting them. Because otherwise, how does a herdsman bring AK-47, 10 of them, and drive all the way to Ebonyi to kill, and no policeman can stop him on the way? I ask, what is the special route that the herdsman takes that we cannot find out and stop them? Because somebody at the top has an agenda to promote them and allow them to get away with their criminal activities. Because also, meat is a $3 billion business in Nigeria, in which every Nigerian is entitled to be part of that business. Also, because we have not been we don't have leaders who are thinking. Otherwise, why should you be allowing cows to be roaming around when you can put them in a ranch? Not a colony, a ranch. And if I own land and you want to rent my land to ranch it, you can rent it. But the federal government cannot come and say that they want to seize land and give to herdsmen. No, herdsmen are already making enough money and making enough killing in the country. We cannot give them any more. They have to respect the owners of the land. The owners of the land they want have to be partakers in their own economic progress or whatever profit they are making. But the advantage of branching, brothers and sisters, is that it gives us also another opportunity. Through biogas, we can generate electricity. That is the dung that comes from these cows. And we can generate over 1,000 megawatts of electricity, considering all the cows we have around Nigeria that's roaming around. And you never see one cow again, because now we need their dung to generate electricity. So we won't let them to be going around eating other people's farmland. Secondly, the rest of what becomes the waste from that electricity can be used as fertilizer. But if you don't have leaders who can think, you are wasting your time. Our second agenda has to do with generation of power. Without electricity, I can't say it enough, we are going nowhere in Nigeria. We're just wasting our time. There's no conversation we can have. There's no many national plans we can have. No, we can, if you like, go and bring an angel to become the economic or finance minister of Nigeria. Without electricity, if you like, we base Nigeria's economy 5,000 times. It can never be called an economy. Because electricity is the power. It's what powers every economy around the world. So we must get our electricity right. We must provide at least 24 24/7 power to that country. And we have a variety of ways to do that. We are only using a few of them right now. We're only using hydro. And hydro, in Nigeria, if you go to Nigeria around June, maybe July to September, you see that there's improvement in power because of the rainy season that has come to Kanji Dam. Kanji Dam has about 3 turbines. Only one of them is working maybe now. 2 other ones are not working. We needed to have just called the people who build the place to come and bring in new turbines. But our problem is that when you want to award contracts that are made for people who know how to do things are given to chiefs. Well, you can call them thieves to go and do. And by the time the thieves finish with vulcanizing the contract, sharing the mobilization fee, the money that is made for the contract never gets to who should fix the problem. It's the reason why our power stations that are in existence now are not working, and it's the reason why our electricity grids are not working in the country. We have to fix our electricity by introducing new mixes of electricity. We have an opportunity to generate over 4,500 megawatts of electricity from northern Nigeria through sunshine alone. You know what they did to generate electricity in Nigeria? They went and brought windmills to Katsina. I mean, I'm not saying that windmills cannot work, but where is the wind in Katsina that can be pushing windmills to generate enough electricity to power Katsina? It's natural way of leaders in Nigeria. That's how they reason. Because the intention is not to generate electricity. The intention is to steal. So they'll bring the project, they make it look grandiose, and at the end of the day, it won't work for anybody. It's just like what they do in Maiduguri. Every president, almost every president that has come in Nigeria, will go and be exploring for oil in Borno, in the Lake Chad region. They have been doing it for almost 30 years. They have not found a single drop of oil. It costs $10 million to drill for oil in that place. But because it's expedient and it's an easy way to steal money, they do it all the time. It was not until last year that Boko Haram abducted the engineers that are working there that they stopped exploring for oil. Maybe they've resumed again now. I don't know. So, coming back to electricity, we must get electricity right. Now, when you talk about electricity, it is not about bulbs alone, flickering on top of your head. It's not about fan, air conditioning. It is what will power industrial revolution in Nigeria. The little we know how to do, if you get electricity, our innovative ideas will be exploding around the world, and our economy can grow higher than the stupid projection that we get every day on their PowerPoint. Our GDP this year is growing by 1.9%. That is unheard of, and no country should be proud of saying that their GDP is growing at 1.9% when the population is growing by 2.6%. But these guys have no shame and they don't care. The third issue is infrastructure. That's what I discussed today with the mayor. They asked him, what can we work on, based on mutual respect. I said, in those days, we used to hear that Italians know how to construct roads very well. So we wouldn't mind if we can have Italian companies come back and help us do good roads, because some of the problem we have right now are that roads that are constructed in Nigeria are substandard. The moment the thing is commissioned, rain comes, it washes it away. Sometimes I actually think that the leaders will just go and paint the tails black and put struck in the middle. And the moment they leave, the thing is gone. And we have this very stupid penchant for commissioning things that other people don't do in other places. A Nigerian senator commissioned one electric pole last year. Just one electric pole. He went and tied ribbon around it, and everybody was clapping for him there. And like one musician sang, he said, may sense fall on some Nigerians. It's so crazy what is going on in our country. But what infrastructural development of the type we want to bring we do is turn Nigeria into a construction site, because we need to build a lot of things. We need to build a lot of roads. About almost 400,000 kilometers of road is what Nigeria needs to properly integrate. And when you have integration by way of roads, you don't need to be shouting unity, unity on radio and NTA. People will unite. If I can travel between Lagos or my village to Kaduna within 4 hours, Why would I not feel like going anywhere I want and spend my money anywhere I want? You won't have to worry about unity. But they think that propaganda can unite Nigerians when the infrastructures in Nigeria that unite people are falling apart. That's the problem with the way our leaders think. We need to build roads. We need at least 17 million units of housing to keep Nigeria well-housed, Nigerians well-housed. Just like we have in China, ghost cities. Now, they build apartments that nobody's even occupying. Nobody's thinking about that because all we're interested in is stealing what is not there. Nigeria has been funding the greedy and ignored and neglected the needy. That's where our problem is. It's most of the reason why most of you are here, out here, acting as if we are happy. That's the truth. We are all pretending to be happy outside. But me, that I have been around outside the country for 19 years, I don't know how long you have been here, I know that most of us are not happy out here. You are not happy. Yes. You will notice that even your prayer points are different for the people at home. Yes. It's as if you are not serving the same God. And regardless, all the time, you have to attend to the problem at home. You can run away from the problem in Nigeria. The problem in Nigeria can never let you to go too far. The problem in Nigeria is putting stress on lives. Because even if you get over here, you get married, you settle, the family problem will be so much. Sometimes your wife will just say, look, this is too much. I don't want this anymore. Because every time you have 1,000 euros, you must send almost 700 home after you have paid your bills. And the problem doesn't end. So we are like the Social Security Department of Nigeria. Exactly. We must send Nigeria. And this is what informed our coming out here to speak to you, because they accuse us, why are you talking to Nigerians abroad? They are not going to vote after all. So you think they are not going to vote, but they have something more powerful than vote. And there's something more powerful than PVCs, which is their economic influence. We are the greatest or the biggest foreign investors into Nigeria. Like a student union leader said in Abeokuta last week, you are the one who is doing so much for people who may not necessarily be grateful to you. Because Nigeria ought to have made a priority for Nigerians living abroad, 6 million of us officially, to be voting in elections. Even if it's just a token gift to them. Because between what we send home, last year we sent about $40 billion home to Nigeria from everywhere. And you and I know that when you want to send real money to Nigeria, you don't send it through Western Union. You go and look for a person at the airport who is going home. You wrap it and wrap it and wrap it, and you put it in a greeting card, and then you put the greeting card in another bag, and then you seal it. Even if custom wants to remove it, by the time you open like the 5 layers, they ask you to go and take your problem and go away. The packaging, that's how we send money home. And as a result, we cannot ignore you in the scheme of things. Also, it's just also about dreams, about nostalgia. I think my 19 years in the US, that I don't think there's anybody who wants Nigeria to be better than I am. That's how I feel. Because if I'm driving on a nice road like that, I wish I could just stop, roll the roads, and put in my trunk and just ship it to Nigeria. Good talk. Yes. If I go to an hospital that is working, and with the moment the doctor is finishing with me, I will be asking the doctor, is there a chance I can take you to Nigeria to go and help? Or can I just uproot this hospital and put it in my village? That's how we think out here. Every good thing we see, we want it to be at home. So, it's the power. So, we must support ourselves. We must support this movement because we can do it. Again, it took me to Donald Duke. When I spoke to him, me and him had a tango, he said, oh, someone like you cannot handle a complex Nigeria. And I asked him, what is complex about Nigeria? There's nothing complex with, just fixing roads. What is so complex when you award contract for roads, just for it to be done? You don't do it. You award contracts for hospital, you steal the money. How is it that Nigeria is so complex to rule, but it's not complex to steal from Nigeria? You can steal $3 billion from Nigeria, one person. It's not, the system will not detect it. But if you have to do 100 million naira project, it's too complex. They will tell you that, oh, you know, the Hausas want it, the Yorubas don't want it. It's a lie. They are the ones who create those complexities so that you make it feel like someone said today, he said it's a scare button for the youths. When the youths are coming and say they want to take over, they'll tell them, hey, stop, Nigeria is too complex. Everybody will withdraw. Hey, stop, you don't have experience. Everybody will withdraw. But nobody has challenged them the way we have challenged them in the last few months. I am one of the last entrants into the presidential race. I started 3 months ago. Several of them have started 2 years ago. People like Atiku, they've been in it for 2 years. But these last 3 months that we've been doing it, everything we said, the government is trying to implement it. Somebody was even joking this morning. He said, Sowore, maybe when you go to your next town hall meeting, add these other 3 things. Maybe Buhari will do it next week. And I'm adding constant electricity from today that will make it happen next year. Maybe Buhari will do it before he leaves. But I guarantee you he can't. Because the truth about Buhari is that the Baba don't get anything upstairs. To be fair to him, if you give him another 20 years, he cannot do more than what he's doing now. In fact, in South Africa, he confessed to it that maybe if he's younger, he could have tried something. What else do you want? But there are still some young Nigerians who are following them because of their truth. You know, because of their truth. So we got to infrastructure. We thought the fourth thing is corruption. How do we fight corruption in such a way that corruption don't reduce us into 21st century slaves in other countries? What we are doing here, to be honest with ourselves, is worse than slavery. At least the slave masters went and made sure that they took you to the final destination safe. Except for slaves who fought in the high seas, and some said, I would never be a slave. So they fought and jumped into the high seas. But now, the kind of second slavery that we are engaging in, we ourselves are voluntarily leaving home, able-bodied men, women, and they will go to Libya and get on a raft, not minding that they might end up at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea. They brave it. So many people swim to get here in Napoli, and you know what you went through. And the question you ask yourself, probably somebody or 10 people, for every person that made it, 10 people probably died. Either they died in before Agadez or between Agadez and Libya, or they died between Tripoli and Napoli. That is our story. Lampedusa. Or Lampedusa. Well, I use Napoli because that's where we are today, right? And Tripoli and Napoli, you know, make some sense. Lampedusa. That is condition. That's kind of voluntary servitude. Is the worst that can happen to any human being. So when Italians say that they want to make our country better for us so that we can go back, they don't understand that we don't want to be here. They don't get it, you know. And we are not the first set of people who had to go and look for survival when things are hard. The Europeans themselves did it. They didn't even ask for visa when they started going all over Africa to look for something to eat. And they kept bringing it here. Anything they could find. I told some of them yesterday, I said, Africa is like a hotel. The Europeans went there and stole everything they could find. Yes. The bed sheet, the powder. When they finished stealing, they couldn't find anything. The terracotta that our parents were wearing, they took it, brought it, and faithfully hung it on their walls, and even asked them to come and see it, stolen goods. So, but again, that is not something we can use as an excuse perpetually. There is something we can do now to save our country, and fighting corruption is one of it, because if we fight corruption to a reasonable level in Nigeria, we can immediately save about $5 billion that is stolen and taken out of the country to build houses, mansions that they don't live in, buy jets, air tickets, send their children to some of the best schools. The worst thing about our leaders is that they don't even believe in Nigeria anymore. So many of them can never allow their kids to be born in Nigeria anymore. The moment their wives and girlfriends and concubines are pregnant, they put them on the airplane, they go and deliver somewhere else to bring back the passport. Because at the slightest provocation they want to run away. If they can't get away, at least they don't want their kids to be in Nigeria. That is where Nigeria is today. So we have to fight corruption, and in fighting corruption, we fight it before it becomes a problem. We have to use technology to fight corruption. Because the moment they steal, you can't recover. It's very difficult to recover. The judges and all of them are working together. You have seen the drama going on in the courtrooms with Elizabeth too. You know, every day they wheel him into the distance. And that disease. Jinedilo Melaye jumped out of a moving vehicle. There was Femi Fanikayo, they said he had heart attack or heart disease. When they were stealing, they were perfect. But the moment the justice was coming near, everybody started to fall sick. You understand? That shows to you that thieves don't have courage. If they had courage, they would have at least been able to withstand the trial that is coming their way. And that is why I feel that we can fight corruption only if we have somebody who knows how to fight corruption. The way they are fighting corruption now is not the way to fight corruption. This is a political fighting of corruption. Anybody that is not part of APC, you go after him. But someone like Obanekoro, who used to be PDP, who is now APC, you say, he's a nice man. He's also going to supervise the election for APC. Can you believe that? Very dishonest people. Next is the economy. Our economy is not the kind of economy that is working for us, because the basics that the economy should satisfy are not there. For you to have an economy that works, you must be able to provide jobs for a sizable number of your young people. You must have an economy that is functioning, that is increasing and promoting productivity. But also, we cannot have an economic system that works for us except we have other things that make the economy work. The country must be secure. You must have electricity. You must have infrastructure. You must have reasonable ability to enable businesses to work. In Nigeria, if you're a small business, you can't get a loan. You know, but if you're a big man, you can get a loan. The interest rate on loans in Nigeria starts from 30%. There's nobody who can borrow at 30% and make it. It's not possible. But the big man, if they want to borrow, they will just borrow enough so that the banks will be catering for them. So you see them, they release a list of debts that they borrow every year. It's unbelievable. But the big man in Nigeria doesn't flinch, because the Nigerian government will come and take over the debts. At the end, through what they call AMCON, Assets Management Corporation of Nigeria. That's how they clean up their mess. The next thing, so I'm going through this very fast. You can ask me questions, because sometimes people say we are not specific. Well, the specifics are coming in different ways, but we are being careful these days not to be too specific, because of the thieves who are also stealing our ideas as we are dropping them.
That's right.
That's what Buhari and the government are doing. The other day, we introduced 100,000 naira as minimum wage. There was a huge outcry in the country. How are you going to pay for it? It's going to cost inflation. No. This guy is an economic illiterate. 3 weeks later, they are negotiating with labor that they will pay 56,000. So we only need to add 44,000. Everybody will be happy, right? So they've recognized. Even the Deputy Senate President suddenly realized that workers deserve 50,000. A state governor said they can pay 66,000 minimum wage. But we are breaking it down that minimum wage will stimulate the economy, because it is only when workers are well paid and in an informal economy like our own that the informal economy can get stimulated. What is informal economy? The economy of people making shoes, tailors making clothes, the farmer who is making crops and selling them. So if you're a worker, you used to buy one bag of gari before for 4 kids. you barely could manage. If you have 100,000, which your salary is increasing from 18,000 to 100,000, what do? You buy gari, you buy yam, you buy other things, right? You even start buying chicken, right? Chicken does not then become Christmas food only for the family. What do you think will happen? The man who is making chicken or who has poultry will double the production. They will hire more workers. The man who is making shoes will make more shoes, hire more workers. The informal economy start hiring and everybody becomes happy based on just minimum wage increments in the country. And nobody can force that argument. That is why they're having conversation now. And they want to pay workers 56,000. Suddenly they have found the money to pay 56,000. We also said that for those who are doing youth service, we pay them 50,000 naira. The government also said that people also started shouting on Facebook that, how is that possible? I explained it to them that it's not just about the empowerment of youth corpers. I'm also going to pay youth corpers 10 million naira to their family, or if they get injured or they get killed, their family will get 10 million naira insurance. Because it's unconscionable to send young people to go from their homes where they are born to somewhere like Borno where there's Boko Haram without insurance. That is life. You know what happened during the 2011 election, when a lot of them were killed during the election, outcome of the election rioting. Nothing was done for them. The same thing should happen to our armed forces. You see, all this police corruption we are talking about is happening because they are looking for some form of survival. If you can incentivize police, train them properly, equip them properly, they will become proud such that they can hold somebody on the highway for doing something wrong and they will not let the person go until they get into a courtroom. And when you look at what will happen to you, the amount of time you will waste when the police is not going to collect bribe, you will start changing your behaviors. That's what happens when Nigerians who live in Nigeria go to other countries that things are working. Nigerians are more honorable the moment the system is working. That's what I say about Nigeria. Nigerians are orderly people. But the thing about them is that order for them belongs in hell and heaven. When they are in their hell, order is the last law. When they are in heaven, order is the first law. If you want to see Nigerians in their best, put things in order for them. You'll be surprised that this is the same country. Because Nigerians get into another country today, even this ethnicity we are talking about, they don't like it. I have a cousin that came to the US within 2 weeks. I couldn't understand his accent. He has already picked up the Ebonics accent. I said, oh brother, let me pick you for airport now. Why are you doing all this thing? He said, man, he's tired of the whole thing. Because we are people who can blend very quickly. Yes, anywhere we find ourselves. I even heard that some of you speak Italian than the Italians themselves. Yes. Anyways, so it's an economic system that must work for people, must be deeply rooted in all the factors. It must be supported by infrastructure, it must be supported by energy, power. You can't have an economic system that runs on diesel. It's not going to work. You can't have an economic system where there's petroleum scarcity. It's not going to work. When you are the 6th largest producer of oil and you can't find petrol to buy in your own country. The next thing is restructuring. A lot of people who come from different parts of Nigeria are asking that Nigeria be restructured. That the power at the level of the central government is too big. They want state police, local government police. They want each of the regions of Nigeria to develop at their own space. They want to control the resources of each region. And we totally submit to that. However, we encourage that when you want to restructure a country as powerful as Nigeria, you must be at the table where the decision is going to be made. And if democracy is a game of numbers, the people that are the highest persons or the highest number of the population of the highest percentage of the population of the country should be in position of authority first. Nigerian youths have never really tasted power democratically. So, if we want to restructure Nigeria, we must carry the first referendum out. That is an election that elects a young person who understands 70% of the country to run the country. When you have that in place, you have no problem restructuring. Because when we have a conversation about even our constitution that we have today, Nigerian constitution is a fraud imposed on the country by the military. We were not there when they made that constitution. We need to make a constitution that's actually compliant with the digitalization that's going on in the world. Even our legal system today don't even understand how to interact with the digital evolution or revolution that is happening in the world. A lot of things need to be corrected within the concept of restructuring. We also can have a restructuring that will allow us to jettison the bicameral legislative system we have. We don't need a Senate that is so expensive and useless as we have now.
Take it back! Take it back!
Maybe we will be enough, or we should be doing well with just the House of Representatives. And I say this everywhere I go, every time I have the opportunity. It's very interesting that a lot of Nigerians are united around the issue of getting rid of the Senate in particular. The Senate has become the retirement home of former governors who have stolen and are not tired of stealing.
Exactly.
Look at the amount of money they are receiving as allowances, illegal allowances. They do budget padding, they do criminal extortion by going to ministries, departments, and agencies of government what they call oversight functions. And when they get there, they force them to part with monies that should have been used in delivering public services. So we do not need those kind of people in our public system, in our democratic system. And these are part of the restructuring we need to do. But the restructuring argument now in Nigeria is being driven by 80-year-olds. Yes. They don't talk to you about it, they don't invite us to their meetings. And I am proposing that our restructuring must be reset to be done and anchored by young people whose future is at stake. So after restructuring, we'll deal with health. I don't even need to tell you the health situation in the country. I'm looking at that baby and, see how peacefully and beautiful the baby looks. We travel the country, man. If you see Nigerian babies, you won't be happy, And I don't need to tell you because you probably grew up through the process too, I wasn't the best looking baby when I was growing up because my family had to contend with all kinds of things. When we live in parts of the world where even as illegal immigrants, in other parts of the world, you get some basic health care. In Lampedusa, the moment you step out of, the Mediterranean Sea, people start taking care of you. Yes. But the country where you are coming from, you probably have never seen a doctor before. Here they are even telling you that, let's check your teeth. Me, when I went to the US, the first time was the first time anybody touched my teeth. When the dentist saw my teeth, they said, have you been eating monkey head because your teeth are very I said, you got that. If there's anything that suffering does to us, it makes our teeth strong. Yes. Because you know how it is. To tear anything apart, we get a lot of calcium because we eat a lot of bones. But that is not exactly dental health. So what I'm saying is you can get all these variety of health interventions in your life, which we don't have. And our government intends to deploy primary health workers, secondary health workers, to at least start to reduce some of the terrible statistics in the life of Nigeria. Nigeria right now has the highest mortality rate for infants, probably the highest in the world. The same thing for mothers who, before they deliver, die. During delivery, die. Immediately after delivery, die. I'm breaking it down. I don't want to use the baby grammar to describe it to you. And Nigeria as a whole has a life expectancy of 53 years old. Meaning that if you were born in 1960, you are supposed to have died. The rest of Nigeria...
Stress.
Yes, stress and other things. The rest of Nigeria is also having the same problem. The older people, the people who are governing Nigeria, are older than Nigeria. So yes. They are in their 70s. So Nigeria is 1960. The president is 75. Nigeria is 58. You see the maths. So all areas include education, agriculture. We discussed that today with the mayor, and tourism. And tourism is not just about people visiting Nigeria. It's also about the entertainment that we brought to the world, the movie industry and what we are doing. These are things that Nigerians have done on their own without public or government support. And that tells you with a little governance in place, Nigeria will just grow into this, will move into this level of glory that we've never seen before. So these are the 10 basic engagements we want to have. For all of it, we stand on the fulcrum of technology, because technology is what is driving the world now. The world has become a knowledge-based world, in which even we've now moved into artificial intelligence. So, as I said to some young people in Warri when we went there, your next girlfriend may not be a human being. And it's happening already. Yes.
It's happening in China.
And it's happening here. It's happening in Europe. And your next boyfriend too for ladies may not be a human being. So guys, you better start working harder than you used to work. But that's just aside. It tells you also that everything in the world will start changing very dramatically. You can imagine if for another 10 years, your nanny is a robot. So you go to work, and your nanny is just there taking care of the program. This is the time to feed the baby, this is the time to rock the baby to sleep, this is the time to change the baby, and all of that. So if you are not ready in any part of the world for the challenges of technology, you are screwed. So it's on this note that I've been told that we have 1 hour. This call is being rented. And we want to try as much as possible and quickly take questions. But let me thank the organizers of this event again. Thank the president of the Nigerian community. Wow, I don't know what to say to you. Just stand up for, let's give her a round of applause. Yes. And we want to thank those who came to the airport to receive us. And those of you who are sitting here today, dreaming big that your country will become one of the greatest countries in the world. I promise you. I promise you that a different Nigeria is possible. And if you really let us work together and bond together, we can create a Nigeria in which all of us can be proud of. Like I started this presidential campaign with a haircut. I used to cut my hair. Very interesting. I haven't been able to see my barber. That's why my haircut is a little bit wonky now. And he told me about it this when he saw the guy. So I said, what kind of haircut does he have? But I said to them, you know, you have to look beyond my haircut and walk into my brain. And now nobody's talking about my haircut. But I said to them, I said, you know, when we settle down, I'm going to cut my hair again. And everybody would love to sit down in the barber's chair and say to them, give me the haircut they call showtime.
Showtime!
That's it. So we make the country work. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a nice haircut. Our independence, pre-independence leaders used to be defined by their haircuts. You know, Patrice Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah, you know, Nelson Mandela used to have a party around his hair. So, you know, even a bald hair is a hairstyle. That's the truth. But, you know, that's not just what it is. I say that just to let you know that we can make this country great in such a way that we start loving ourselves again. And we'll start loving what we used to love. And so small things we used to do that makes us feel like safe and happy, you know, in that space called Nigeria is what I'm hoping we'll bring back and make work for everybody in the next few years, especially starting from May 29, 2019. Maybe now, June 12, 2019. Thank you so much for listening.
Take it back! Take it back! Our country, our freedom, our leadership, take it back! Take it back!
Yes, sorry, I've been told that before we take questions, somebody is supposed to send out some requests for funding support. This is the hardest part to do for us, is to ask for funding, knowing that you yourself are struggling. But the people we are up against have godfathers. They've already stolen enough money to last them their entire generation. But we don't have. And we've been raising money transparently online. But we understand that some of you may not particularly be too familiar with using online platforms like GoFundMe. And you might be willing to donate your little contribution to our campaign. So somebody's going to send out envelopes ahead, and whatever you can give to us is what we accept. Nobody's forced, by the way, to make contributions to the campaign. It is not compulsory that you contribute to the campaign. You have come here to hear from us and learn and exchange ideas. Probably some of you even give us better ideas than we have. That's the kind of humility that is driving our travels around the world. But you can imagine that so far we didn't train must raise over $50-something thousand online. And in Nigeria, we open a bank account. If you have a Nigerian account and you want to transfer some little funding, I encourage people to actually give small money so that nobody can say that I'm the big funder of the campaign. So 1,000 naira is what we recommend. But you look at it, if 1 million people give 1,000 naira, you will defeat a lot of the money back. And for us, money is just not cash alone. I say something with due respect that the old guys in Nigeria don't even understand that there are new forms of money in town. Some of them have never heard about Bitcoin before. They've never heard about blockchain technology before. They don't also know that there's political capital, which is not money. The kind of things you will do as you leave this place, calling up people and say, hey, you know, this is the person I want you to support. Or you creating or even making t-shirts. Even you wearing the t-shirt that you buy from us is political capital. That is, you turn yourself into a signboard for us or a billboard for us. We appreciate all of this. So, but if you can, and if you will want to, nothing is too small, as our pastors would like to say. Thank you so much. So I heard somebody will take care of that. On that note, I think moderator, we can take questions. I urge you to please spare us. We've been traveling a lot, as you can see, even though we have plenty of energy and stamina. 6 a.m. tomorrow, we have to be out of here to go to Germany for our Berlin leg of the tour. And after that, almost immediately, we're heading to Spain. And on June 12th, we have to be back in Lagos to make sure that we prepare ourselves for takeover of power democratically in 2019.
As I said before we started, we were on the segment of questions. And if you have a question to ask or contributions to make, but before then, let me say something. I've been reliably informed that it is being live online. People can still ask questions. Then, 1 or 2, 3 people will ask questions, and we will join them together and answer. But before the raise of hands for questions, I would want to a bit on what he said. It was difficult for him to say. He was reminded to say it. I said initially when Obama started, he said, yes, we can. Children get given money for candy, they will drop it inside the box. If you are not able now to make a contribution towards his campaign, I'm sure the organizing committee have a very good facility for you to support. It is easier for you to contribute €1 So that even if he gets into power and didn't give you anything, you would feel the pains of the 1 naira. That when you bring 500 million naira, then you look for a contract, you will not perform. I'm looking around for your hands for questions. Okay, Mr. 1 minute. Okay, if you can speak from there, we can hear, but the microphone is not tall enough. Okay, just 1 minute. Mr. Odala, please.
My name is Emeka Odala. I'm from Anambra State, Nigeria. Our able presidential aspirant, thank you for your brilliant ideas on how to move our country forward. Yes, I have 2 questions to ask, because there was this medical doctor that was practicing overseas. He happened to have the opportunity to contest the election in Nigeria and won a governorship seat. He was a medical doctor by profession, and he was trained to save people. So when he got home, being the governor of the state, things started tearing apart. Yeah, my question is, with your brilliant ideas on how to take back our country, how are you going to assure us that the system back home is not going to influence you and thereby changing the whole thing? This is one. Then, second, in Nigeria, we have a big issue. Everybody is talking about corruption, but the corruption is not the main thing. There are things that are throwing up corruption. What is your take, or rather, what is your plans on how to see a Nigerian, first of all, as a Nigerian, and not on where you came from or religion you belong to? Because we've been in Europe and we benefited from a system whereby people are seen on their characters, not on where they came from or what they have or the religion they belong to. And I see this as a major factor in Nigeria that is creating a lot of problems. Finally, what is your take on job creation? Thank you.
Mr. Future President, I have 4 questions to ask you.
Just one.
My first question is, if you take over power, how would you manage the Niger Deltas and the entire Nigerians as general? Second, if you take over power, what would be the benefits of we in diaspora here in Italy? How are you going to tackle the insecurity in the society and the country? How are you going to manage the economy and put it in the right track? Last, I see you as a leader, and I am praying for you to win and lead us out of recession and transmission and elimination, because we are watching you.
Thank you, my very good friend. I wanted to have an issue with you after this meeting because all protocols were not observed. When you see president, I don't think you have your president on the seat and you will not recognize him. But my friend, that is when the president of the president has come. We will settle that. My name is Moses Babatunde, the president of the Yoruba community in this place. And I'm very glad to listen to you. And I've come with the greetings, with good tidings from the good Yoruba people here. And we thank God for your life, for being here. There is no doubt about it that we are well informed by your background as a media guru. I've been here since 2 o'clock listening to you, and we have seen that you have a very bright ideas and ways to move the country forward. But my question is very simple, sir. Because I've seen people come out, I've seen Alex Shirodi, I've seen Fela Durotoye, I've seen Elisama Ede, I've seen a lot of people coming out. I follow you, I follow most of them too. They have bright ideas. But my question is, that I put to all of them, on what platform are you guys going to run? That's number one. Because when we are trying to defeat these money bags and political jugglers and whatever, we need to know your platform before we can throw our full support. And I wish to know that. Even I'm following you like what you said, so we will know that in due time. And secondly, I thank God for the president of the Nigerian community. He has gone for taking you around to see some things, the way things are done here. In 2016, in Yorubas, we have a program we always do every year. And I invited the Speaker of Lagos State and 28 members of Lagos State Assembly and some other there. Not for anything, to see how things have been done in this place. So, but thank God today, He has taken you to some places and you have seen things. So, we will be talking about that later. Please, what are we chipped in, apart from that question, is that, please, don't let this be the last time you will be going around. God will help you. Please, you need to see how things have been done. And we are having our this year annual day in September. We are in talk with one of your peers, and you are one of our speakers. And I'm just giving you an open invitation now that September 21 to 23, you are one of our guest speakers. And I know my brother will have chipped in one or two things about it. So, I wish you well.
May we take brother here last baby, and then we can answer those 4 questions first, and then we'll take.
Please make your.
All right. Yeah. I just have 3 areas I want to ask your platform. I've carried a child. I do not want to spend more time appraising you because I do not expect anything less. I mean, I've been following you for quite a number of years. Number 1, my question is this. Like, yeah, we know we have a problem of corruption and so many other problems in Nigeria. But one area I really want you to key into, and I want you to tell us how you're going to tackle that area, is in the way religion has contributed so many things to corruption in Nigeria. The way we do our religion. I noticed something about you that when they were about starting, and they said, let us pray, your attitude towards it is just like, okay, let's do it, which I think I fell in love with. Because an average Nigerian, you know, the way we take religion, we take it as if it's over everything, forgetting the fact that religion is a personal thing. How are we going to deal with the issue of religion and how it has contributed to so many ills in the Nigerian society? My second question, how do you intend to tackle the issue of education? I work in a public place, And I've met with some Nigerians who will tell you, oh, they finished secondary school. Some of them will tell you they have a university degree. And give them an ordinary form to fill. You spend the next 1 hour having to start explaining to them how to go about this and how to go about that. So that really tells me something, that our educational system has been totally destroyed by the government. Because the best way to keep people to become perpetually a slave is to destroy the education of the people. When people don't have education, they can't think straight. And once you can't think straight, you can't tidy up the issues together and probably ask the right question. The problem with Nigerians is that we don't ask the right question, and that's just because we lack education. The third point I want to go with, prior to the 2015 election, like, I'm so active on social media, and I know how many young people were castigating Jonathan, saying a whole lot of things, including yourself, just to get the government out of power. Now Jonathan is out there, and now we have Buhari. And now on the internet, you have the same set of young people, I mean vibrant like others, who have either been made commissioner to this, like the likes of Kulu, Ogunlesi and co. I don't want to be mentioning names, I know you know that. Now defending the same thing that they want to criticize the government, the Jonathan administration for years back. How are you going to deal with this issue of surrounding yourself with people who can look straight into your eyes and tell you the honest truth when you are messing up, so we don't keep recycling the same problem over and over again? Those are my questions.
Before he starts to answer the question, I'm sorry, the 4 people that asked questions may have taken the whole time. There will be no more room for questions because we have less than 30 minutes to leave. But in a very special way, the ushers will go around with these envelopes just to support his campaign. And support his campaign, he has to pay his air ticket back, he has to pay his hotel bills. So please, they will give you the envelope, any token, anything you have, while we proceed. Thank you.
We'll still take more questions.
Yes. Thank you. The first question was about a medical doctor who went to Nigeria. I know you don't want to mention names or name names. That's a piano. What's his full name? I know you may say. What's his full name again? Guma. So the thing you should be very careful about, and that also goes to the question or comment our brother made from the Yoruba community. When suddenly somebody comes out of nowhere to say they want to save you, you should ask where they are. Several other times you have had problems. Anybody that shows up in Nigeria today who attended university in Nigeria and did not participate in one protest, you should question them when they say they want to save you in 2018. Anybody that comes out in Nigeria today who, when there's fuel scarcity or increase in fuel price, they did not participate in protests, you should question where they were when those things are happening. Anybody that is in Nigeria today, when they are killing people in certain parts of the country, did not say anything about it, question why, how they can save you now. That is what brought about the likes of Ebiano. When he says that he's a medical doctor, the question you have asked him is, where was he? What has he done for Nigeria? What has he done when the medical issues in Nigeria were serious? Did he ever volunteer to come back home? It's the same thing I asked the question about religion. I'm trying to answer everything together. If someone wants to prove to me that he can perform miracles, we should have gone to Liberia when there was Ebola there. I was looking for one of the big mega churches pastors who can go to Sierra Leone and go and do a deliverance from it. I would have joined their church if they made it out of the place. You know, religion in some ways has its own place. I cannot question people's faith, but me, I don't want to display my own publicly. They use it to deceive people. When I went to discuss the event we had at Donald Duke's, where I met Donald Duke, it was organized by a church, Pastor Chris Oyakulome's church. And when I got there, the pastor who organized it said, oh, stand up for our father in the Lord, Pastor Chris Oyakilome. I sat down, I didn't stand up. Because he's not my father in the Lord. Yes. And they were looking at me. One of them said, oh, when everybody was praying, your mouth did not move. And I asked him, is this only when people's mouth move that they are praying? One of the pastors was questioning. He said, you guys should understand that it is religion that took Nigeria to where, the religion that took Nigeria to where you are, we are now, is the religion of mouth that is moving. But of mind, of mouths that are moving, but of minds that are not moving. So that was how he just quietly walked away from me. And when I was opening my speech at that event, I said to them, some of the pastors, I've been fighting a lot of pastors. And some of the pastors will go to hell. Me, I know if there's heaven, I'm going to heaven.
That's right.
And I mentioned how a pastor was using his jet right in front of all of them there to carry cash to South Africa, to London money. And when I ended my speech, I said to the church, because I spoke about transformational leadership, not transmissional leadership, but transformational leadership. I said the church needs transformational leaders. Any church in Nigeria that builds universities that the members cannot afford is an ungodly church. This is recorded.
It's real.
I said any church that when the members are hungry and they are sick, you don't give them food, you don't give them hospitals, you give them holy water. I say it's an ungodly church. Yes. I was surprised in that gathering. The gathering was made of their church members. But before I could finish my speech, they rose up to their feet and they were shouting. Which means that they know what is going on and they're just using religion. And there's always a correlation between religiosity and poverty. Anywhere there's poverty, religion will move in there. You know, two things move into where there's poverty. Fire. Religion and alcohol. Beer is another thing that you can use to solve poverty. Anywhere there's poor people, beer must be doing well. So, but this is a conversation for another day. And nobody, by the way, will question me on those two last submissions I made. The pastor who organized the thing tried everything, but at the end of the day, when we were leaving, you could tell who the people listened to and who. Everybody came to them. You want to take pictures? You send the church, but even the church member said, you are supposed to be our pastor. I said, no, I want to be your president, not pastor. So, how are you going to assure that you will not change it? I have been, as you follow me, I've done activism for almost 30 years. So, it will be 30 years since I entered the University of Lagos in 1989. I did SAHARA reporters for 12 years. I offended all the powerful people in Nigeria that is offending. If there's a word like that. So, if anything could change me, it would be my experience as SAHARA reporters. They fought me, they beat me up. When I entered Nigeria, they arrested me, they tried to frame me, they sued me. I have about 4 law cases in court in Nigeria. One of them from a pastor who was sleeping with the prostitutes in Canada. You guys know the story. One of them was from Dino Melai. You know, when Saraki sued me, all the money I have in Nigeria has been seized from Saraki. Now it's still in possession of it. But I said nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. And that is what I am about. But I don't want to say I am. I'm saying that's what most of you are about. But unfortunately, you have never had a chance to be part of the governance of the country. But right now, I'm presenting you an opportunity and a vehicle to do that. Because I'm not going to go there and expect you to leave me alone. I will expect you to keep holding me. In fact, it will be harder on me than you've ever been harder on. Because I'm one of you. If I don't do well when I become president, You guys are going to be told that you are a disgrace. Maybe it's one of you that came. That is what people say about them. All these people that come from America, they are not different from people at home. It's true. A lot of people abroad are hungrier than people at home. A lot of people abroad have problems. They have a lot of people abroad are broke. It's just clothes that we used to cover ourselves and sneakers. When I go home, one of my brothers come home, why are you not wearing all the big sneakers? I said, people come home with sneakers. They bought it the day they are coming. It is true. The moment they go back, they will retire the sneakers, they start wearing the thing they used to look for job in the street. I said, if you want to know how people are doing, go and see them in the country when they are coming. You see Africans sleeping in the train. The train station would have been passed because you have been walking your ass this morning till night. You can't even move your head. People don't understand what we are going through. They just see you during Christmas. That bros, they stay for Napoli, come and see sneakers, the chain, everything. They didn't know that bros bought sneaker and chain on his way for Christmas. After Christmas, so things about corruption. So how do you intend to? Yes, someone said corruption is. People have different opinions about corruption. Our brother Emeka. But me, what I know about corruption in Nigeria is that there's corruption in every country in the world. There's no country where there's no corruption. Even this country that you are in, you know what their politicians do now. Italy, they teach other people how to corrupt from Italy there. The most corrupt country in the world is the United States of America. They have the most corrupt street. It's called Wall Street. There they can chop, one person can chop the budget of the whole of West Africa. But the difference is that they don't have that primitive accumulation mentality where you give contract to somebody to go and construct road. In America, they will finish that road though. Because nobody's going to hear the excuse that, oh, the man who was supposed to build the road has just used the money to go and build a house. It's not happening. A rookie policeman will slap handcuff on you and you are going to go to jail. They make an example of you. But in Nigeria, I've never seen people like that before. The kind of leaders we have in Nigeria, where somebody will give contracts to Julius Berger, ask Julius Berger to go and build him a house first before they will start the contract. And Julius Berger will do it. And that's how the Babangidas of this world build their mansions. All of the generals that you are saying, that's how they build their mansions. So our corruption is the type that we have to tackle with maximum strength to ensure that the stealing that is happening will prevent it from happening. Part of the reason why people steal is that there's money. The way we handle money is also the reason. We went to the University of Ibadan. We are still using baskets to count money to rent hall. You know, why would people steal? When money is around, people will steal it. But if you make sure that money is not physically available to be stolen, there are apps these days that can help you close the loophole. You can say that everybody who is in charge of money in your ministry must have an app on their phone. You give them the phone. When money is coming, the only way you see the money is when you are entering the amount in their app. And the moment you press send, it goes into the government's purse. So when you don't see money, how would you steal it? But when money is still being handled in the old analog ways, where you still want to count money, you're going to bring one basket of, one pail of water. You start dipping your hand in your mouth and in the pail and counting. Why would people steal money? But you have to make money, you have to handle transactions in such a way that people no longer see this scam, and that's where technology is one of the basic ways to handle corruption. The rest is, in my view, very nice when you hear EFCC has arrested somebody, is a big man. Hey, you know, there's this mental satisfaction we get that one former governor has been arrested. But for someone like me who has been covering these guys, anytime you see them arrest somebody, they are even happy. Because finally they can go and settle themselves the way they want. Because there's nothing that will come out of it. The judges, all of them are working together pari passu. There's nothing that will happen. See the governor that they say they jailed 24 years. The moment they finish, the guy just smiles, he's back home. There was another governor in Alamba that was jailed. They put him in prison. The prison wrote a letter that is on vacation. How can you be on vacation from prison? You know, it's only in Nigeria. all these things, when you see, they're just, you know, there's a tantalizing aspect of fighting corruption that we like in the media. But when you dig deep down into Nigeria, nobody is fighting corruption. Nobody has gone to jail. But the poor people, let them go and steal cell phone. You will see George like this, his veins will all be going to, you know, they're going to sentence you to 500 years. But the governor of the state that is stealing the future of the country blind, the judge will be at his naming ceremony as MC. That's the problem we have in the country. Job creation, somebody mentioned job creation. I just mentioned things that can create 5 million jobs. And I'll name them, just a few things. If we get electricity right by building 4,500 megawatts of electricity through solar, we can hire over 2 million hands just to put the tools together. The cells. I don't know if you guys heard about solar cells or farms in Italy here. I think they have it. Yes. Those farms that you see, just to put those cells together in Nigeria for 4,500 megawatts, you can hire 2 million people right there to build the kind of roads that we need and the transfer of technology that will go with it. You are talking about almost 500,000 to 1 million people, right? To do agriculture the right way, not the propaganda way. You are talking about almost 2 million people. And that's 5 million people hired there. And for the Nigerian economy, or the Nigerian nation, or our culture, the moment somebody gets a job that pays him 100,000 naira, or even 50,000 naira, you are supporting over 20 family members right there. You know that because you stay here. Anytime you send 50 euros to your mom, who's living in the village, everybody's there waiting up. At least they will support other people. We make us son. Anybody is sick, they buy APC, not the one, not the political party, the real medicine. That one we know they expire. APC, Panadol, or Fancy, all those things. Those are the ways that we support ourselves. So the opportunities are there. The other things that are, even the jobs that are there legitimately to be done, Nigeria doesn't take care of its own. All the oil companies are abusing expatriate quota into Nigeria every year. So you are here now, you might have a degree in petroleum engineering, you cannot find a job
in your country,
in your own country. But some guy here who had a polytechnic degree will now move into Nigeria, and you will have like 7 personal assistants, gateman, everybody is, you know, prostitutes, everything is available for them. That is what happens when you don't have countries that have leaders who care about their people. Because those jobs that goes to expatriates, from what I learned, there are about 100,000 jobs like that Nigerians could get, but expatriates are given because we feel inferior in our own country. So they'll say, why would you need an underwater welder to come from the Philippines or Pakistan? Underwater welder, when you're a job man, you mean you cannot weld under? I know of the job people who can stay for close to 2 minutes underwater without breathing. So you just need to teach them how to do, but you don't even need to use your nose now, you use oxygen. Settle down there, there's nothing you cannot weld. At any rate, if they are not welding the things for you, they know how to blow the pipe now. Underwater. Yes! Instead of you to do, you know, see, when you do justice in a country, it doesn't cost too much. But injustice costs so much. And you use the example of Niger Delta. Somebody asked about Niger Delta. Yes. When Kensarua was about to be killed, he told them that this is the cheapest way to resolve the Niger Delta problem. Let me go, negotiate and clean up the Niger Delta. When Kensarua was killed, Niger Delta cleanup was not up to $2 billion to clean up the entire Niger Delta and fix the place in some ways that people will be praising the government. They killed him. You know the cost of it. Years later, we are still dealing with it. Yes. That was what led to the Niger Delta militancy.
It never get to an end.
You understand? And it's not going to end because of that injustice that was done to one man. It's the same thing we are telling them now, that we have a chance. All the old guys have a chance to just live quietly. Or this country somehow will not accept to be treated like this forever and ever. Young people in Nigeria will not allow themselves to be messed up and disgraced, decimated and destroyed by elders forever. One day, they will rise up.
Take it back! Take it back!
The least cost of this justice is what we can do by next year. Let them just quietly allow fair and fair elections. Let one of us who know what we are doing take it over. Let us be allowed to be elected and let us fix our country. They will be lucky in it because we are not going to fight them back. At least they'll be getting their pensions on a regular basis. You promise them. But that is not to say that some of the people that put Nigeria in the condition that it is today will not ask them questions. People say that I should not be declaring my intentions so that they will not ambush me. Well, you better know my intention and vote for me than not know my intention and vote for me and then I tell you that I never told you that I will do something. But now at least you can quote me that I said people who stole pay back what they stole from Nigerians. Because to be honest with you, how do we move on like this? So are we going to be worshiping the guys who stole? We're going to be paying them homage all the time. It's Babake, anytime they are going, they are the best. But they are not the best. The best amongst us are here, amongst you. I guarantee you that if we ask people to raise up their hands who has a degree here, I'm sure most of you have degrees from Nigerian universities. Degrees that you obtain by yourself, not that the ones that their parents are buying for them now. But you are here trying to make ends meet. Some of you are selling things that you never have sold at home. It's terrible. How would you manage, how would you benefit the diasporans? One is that if we create a country you can come back to, what better benefit can you get than that? Even if it is that you don't leave, you don't return back the same day we come into government. But you can have a country that you walk into and you say, this is a different Nigeria. That you want to drive from Lagos to Benin and you don't hit a bump on your way, or that you are not afraid that kidnappers are following you to your house. Those little things that you take for granted here, if you can have it in Nigeria, suddenly you start getting back home gradually. But immediately, I think we will approve of diaspora voting. We improve the services from our embassies and consulates. That one is another crime against humanity. Seriously, the kind of guys we put down here. I was telling somebody yesterday that, do you believe that some consulates, they lose power the same way they lose power in Nigeria? It's as if they have NEPA here. So the only place we can find that is dark at night in some countries is the Nigerian consulate. And it's not because they don't have power, because they don't pay their bills, their light bills. In New York, that gigantic building you see in New York, only 5 floors are working there. It's the only building in that vicinity that is not working at full capacity. Because Nigerian leaders, my goodness, there's no way you take them to. They will destroy the place. If they walk into Italy today, I swear, Italy will not recognize Italy in 6 months. They will destroy the education system, the water system, the roads. They will destroy the rail lines. They will destroy the airports. They will destroy everything destroyed. Now they will start building houses and building fences. Have you ever seen a house with a fence around here? Maybe they do. But they will be like,
no, it's not existing.
The sun, right?
There's some mini fence. Mini fence.
They call them white fence in America. You can have it, but it's not for decoration. Yes. It's the kind of fence you get after you have too much money. It's okay, let's just put the white fence. They call it white fence. But in Nigeria, if we get it right today in Nigeria, sure. Some Nigerian houses are like maximum security prison. Another one is over there. The place that I think the president of the Nigerian community drove past, said this is maximum. I'm thinking about this is somebody's house in Nigeria. I'm telling you, the thickness of that wall you see, they will have barbed wire, and then they will have electric wires over it. That's Nigeria for you. Prison. Everybody's living in prison. Yes. If you get it right in Nigeria, we will have to have a museum of walls. Where everybody start taking down their walls and we want to put it in the museum. So that in the future our children can see the kind of prisons that our parents lived in. And the reason is because of the insecurity they created around them. Some of them are so stupid. They will buy cars. They forget the roads upon which to drive them. Did you not see one guy that had a Lamborghini in Lagos? You couldn't drive it out of the garage. They have to be using the wood plank to shock the security. Yes. Economy and management, economic management. We discussed it before. There is no magic in managing the economy anywhere. You want to manage, you want to have an economy that works, build infrastructure, yeah? Provide electricity, have education, because people who are managing the economy have to be educated from good schools. And it's better when outsiders don't manage your economy for you. It's managed from the inside, right? Pay workers decent wages. Have rule of law, so that people who are investing in the system can trust that if they are cheated, there's a justice system that can help them get out of it. Your economy will work. What they tell us now in Nigeria is that the only way an economy can work is if you have foreign reserve. We asked an Italian labor leader who was with us in Treviso yesterday, do you guys have foreign reserve? He said no. He said they have foreign debt. That's how smart people operate. They borrow to take care of their country. They have foreign reserve. What is foreign reserve? Foreign reserve is guaranteed for imports into your country. And when you import things into Nigeria, is it for me and ordinary people? It's for the people. It's guaranteed to import Italian shoes for our politicians, because you see some of them, their shoes are looking up like this. You know, every shoe must come from Italy for them to respect them. Every suit must come from Italy. Then the shirt will come from America. You know, that's why we don't produce anything. But the reason why we have to have foreign reserve is because we have no local industrial base. We can't produce anything. Even toothpicks, we import. Some people, if Nigeria, where's the Yoruba brother who said he brought the lawmakers from Lagos? When they came here, did they look at the things you brought them from? No. They will go and be shopping. When they go to all these conferences, they don't go to the conference. They either go shopping to buy computers or they are running after prostitutes. That's what they do. I'm sure that none of them listen to what you brought them to. No, at all. But if you know how much it costs in your name to do what they did, you will never do it again. They would have emptied the treasury of Lagos State to embark on that journey. And you probably did it for free. Yes, sir. But those guys, some of them have come here with 200,000 euros each. Every time they are looking for houses to buy, they are looking for cars to buy, anything they see on the street they want to buy and take it back to Nigeria. They want to go and oppress. The mentality of a Nigerian politician is oppression. They want to oppress people at home. They will never listen to the conference to brought them. What is their own conference? They don't care. So economic management is done on the bedrock of, without those facilities in place, without power in particular, without energy, without infrastructure, you can't have an economy. And managing an economy will mean that you are able to at least have those things or maintain the one you have. The worst other thing we have in Nigeria is that we have zero maintenance culture. You build something, you don't maintain it. Platform. This is one question we get everywhere we go after. We have been talking to a lot of political parties. But how we are different from the other candidates is this. Our platform is not driven by political party involvement. It's a movement. So we are building our movement. The movement has been growing. It's probably the most popular movement in Nigeria today, the TakeItBack Movement.
Take it back! Take it back!
So when the movement is fully built, the political parties we want to join will understand that we cannot be polluted or diluted. And when we join them, we won't have problem of having to change our coloration, our ideology, or our format. We have been approached by so many political parties we can't even count. But the interesting thing is that a lot of the political parties you see out there, 68 of them were created by PDP and APC. So if you are not careful, if you go and walk into a political party blindly, they will just muzzle you out of the presidential race. They are carrying money around to stop the political parties. Some of them we know that they should not accept for us to run on their platform because they are afraid. They are really afraid of us. So very soon, and I promise, very soon we will announce our own political platform. Just understand that we still have up to August, middle of August, before that happens. But we will do so very soon. What I can guarantee you is to trust that we will have a platform. We are running next year. Don't doubt about it. And we are running on a popular platform. And you probably have never seen before. Someone say, please keep going around. We'll go around and discuss education. The last thing I will discuss is GJ and Buhari and young people who are supporting them, which is what this brother asked. There is something that we must understand about the dynamics of the Nigerian political system. What happened in 2015 is not more about Buhari than of Jonathan's failure. Jonathan failed so bad. I personally cannot forgive Jonathan. The reason I cannot forgive him is this. I was one of the people who risked my life for Jonathan in I think around 2010 when Yar'Adua was sick. They didn't want Jonathan to become the president of Nigeria because they said it was minority. They even wanted, they were planning a coup against him. Part of that was the reason they brought Yar'Adua back into the country in the middle of the night in an ambulance. I don't know if you guys knew about that. But as SAHARA reporters and some people, we fought so that Jonathan can come into office. Jonathan came into office, completed Yar'Adua's tenure. He won election even in the north because people actually had hope that Jonathan was going to be different. Part of the reason was because they said he's a very educated man. They said he's very calm and very... But the moment Jonathan came to power, the devil inside his house, starting from his wife, started to unleash themselves on Nigeria. I remember after he came to office, about 2 weeks after he came to office, his first act in office, the wife took a private, presidential jet to Lebanon.
Child!
Yes.
There is God, though!
To go and buy gold with a woman called Bola Shagaya. You guys have ever heard about Bola Shagaya? And I was so disappointed. I said, is this what these people are doing? We said, maybe, but what Jonathan did after that is the reason why anybody at all would have considered Buhari. So Buhari was a punishment against Jonathan because of what Jonathan did with power. So when people say, oh, you supported Buhari, never. I never supported Buhari. As a matter of fact, I say it. You can't find anywhere where I supported Buhari. But I belong to a group of people. It wasn't a group that is organized group, but mentally that we're so disappointed in Jonathan, they say anything but Jonathan. It's what they call it, ABJ. And that was what tried the opportunity for Buhari to come in. But the moment Buhari started messing up, I am one of the people that came out clearly. I have been against them since day one. If, for example, you want to look at all the scandals bedeviling the Buhari regime, they came through SAHARA reporters. The chief of army staff who went and bought houses in Dubai, we revealed it. The hiring that was going on illegally at the CBN, we revealed it. As a matter of fact, to make their life very miserable at the time, I released all the phone numbers of all the ministers and all the governors in Nigeria. You can still find it on SAHARA reporters. I went and collected all their phone numbers, and Nigerians made their life hell. They started calling them. In fact, one of the senators was exchanging text messages with them, saying, "You didn't send me here." They made their life miserable. It's not as if I wanted to do that purpose for it, but I wanted them to understand the anger in town about how disappointed people felt. But it was obvious, like I said, that Buhari had nothing to offer. Somebody cannot give you what he doesn't have. That's the truth. And we have reached a point where the lamentation that we have been having against the Buhari regime is just a few weeks away, in my view. So what should we do? Should we stay there and hoping that one of them will win again? No. Exactly. Because when people make the argument, so because You brought Buhari. If we are not careful, Buhari will continue again. The moment Buhari wins the second term, they will package Buhari, put him in London, and the cabal will be in control of Nigeria. That time, don't even think about going home. Because the anger in them now, they are suppressing it because they don't know what to do. The moment they break free from this anger, they will destroy the country. When they first came out, they weren't stealing. Or we thought they weren't stealing, it was because there was nothing to steal. The PDP people did a good job of cleaning the treasury. They vacuum cleaned the treasury. But now, APC has also made their own money because oil prices have gone up. And they also are vacuum cleaning. But the real vacuum cleaning will come next year when they win. You will see thieves like you've never seen before from the APC side. But truth is that, to break it down to us, there was never a difference between the APC and the PDP. And that is why our platform can never include any of these guys. Our platform has to be a clean break from the past. It has to be devoid of ethnic sentiment. And I want to say to our people, particularly in the Southeast, they prove something to us when we travel in the Southeast, that this whole thing that they want to break away is only true if they cannot find justice. If there's justice in Nigeria, what we hear from them is, look, we will stay anywhere, but if you don't give us justice, we cannot stay anywhere. It's the same thing for everybody too. I was saying to them, I said, look, to be honest with you, is there any Nigerian that has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? It's only the Southeast that is organized. Most of us, we know we are no longer in Nigeria, even though we are staying in Nigeria. Reason is simple. Every house in Nigeria today, mostly, are running their own governments. You have to provide your electricity, your water, you have to provide school within the compound, or you are contributing money. You know, you have to provide security, you have to provide your pastor, imam, you have to provide everything that government does, doctor. Even your road. The road to your house, you are the one who have to contribute to construct it. You know? And so, what is it that government is doing for anybody these days that makes them feel Nigerian? Even when they sing national anthem these days, a lot of people don't know the words anymore. Because there's nothing to be loyal to in Nigeria as to be worrying yourself to learn national anthem. You know? I know Nigerians who know how to sing the national anthems of their host country, that they know to sing the national anthem of their own country. But we'll change all of that from next year. So, thank you so much, moderator. I feel like we've done justice to this. If you have more questions, keep reaching us on social media if you can. We're on Facebook. I have a personal Facebook page, Omoyele Sowore. We have page Sowore 2019 on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We are all over the place, and we are making the best impact ever any political aspirant can make within such a short time. And we hope you help us continue to maintain the momentum. Once again, thank you everybody in Napoli for coming. Have a fantastic evening. And may we all be free next year. Amen. Have a good night.
Take it back! Take it back! Take it back!
Thank you. Yeah, we are almost short of time. I want to thank all of you for coming, and may the good Lord lead you backwards in Jesus' name.
Where's your phone? Oh, tissue paper.
This man not senior many of you now. As we go, Mona thick like Amo. He not senior many of you now, but this happened. I say make the team win the team. He complete the sense.
How long now they do that?
If we take not train, I think come now. I think
Let me know this thing because I want to follow this thing. Just gather all the ocean. Just for the please, you people should come. Come. Want to rescue the youth and focus on school.
Please, come by if you want to snap. Who go bend down then? See, who bend down?
Let's use this poster. Move back. That way spread.
Spread out now.
Rely on.
Who got the phone?
Take it back.
Let's go.
You take another idea for you for WhatsApp for me. You don't take that. Yeah.
Are you squatting? Squat on here. Okay. So the link of it. Just the thing. Who was the phone? Who was the phone?
Thank you for making this happen.
Where is
Just take it. No, this time.
Take it. Let's have a fight. Big fight. Big fight. Take it.
Take it back. Take it back.
Wait. Don't go yet. Can you go to the video and then can take it back?
Yeah.
Napoli, take it back.
Napoli, they will take it back.
Napoli, take it back. Are you ready now? Okay.
Take it back.
Napoli, take it back. Napoli, take it back. Napoli, take it back. Napoli, take it back. Napoli, take it back. Napoli, take it back.
Sir, I need a personal with him. Excuse me, just personal with him, please. You just snap him.
You give me personal with him.
That was a good one.
Let me take a personal with him. Hold it.
Okay.
So make sure
let me take Take it back.
Personal.
No, man, I just finish. I'll take my own personal.
No, but I want stamp now. After this guy. Oh, do I bet you see help me now? That make me do it.
It was there. Take a one. I will run with my church. Okay.
I beg. Please.
Please, I want to take a
I beg.